uh, be it with your friends, be it at work and so on and so forth. Mana-mana you pergi ada that conflict. Okay, conflict either with an individual, meaning a relationship conflict, ataupun conflict something that is materialistic. Contoh dengan kerja, konflik kerja susah. Conflict can also means conflict dengan issues lah, conflict issues you're facing, all right, such as mental health issues, depression and so on and so forth. All right, so conflict, but most often than not, conflict, when we use the word conflict, usually it resonates to ataupun it resonates with an individual, like a person. Okay, maybe most often than not also that conflicts happen when two individuals, two persons cannot come to a conclusion. All right, okay, that's number one. So basically you have your own views, I have my own views, so we are in a state of conflict, right, so to say. Or so you cannot come to a conclusion, ataupun I just reject your idea. All right, so the first one is both of us have different views, so we are in conflict of interest ataupun conflict of ideas. But then number two is I just reject your ideology, your thinking, your feeling. I just reject it. Okay, upfront I reject, right, atas sebab-sebab whatever reasons that is for lah, all right, for anger ataupun sebab munasabah or not, and so on and so forth. All right, so this is something that is normal. All right, all of us, we're going to face this in our lives. All right, yeah, so how do we overcome it? Based on the Quranic teachings. All right, can if you guys have any questions, please do ask them. Doesn't have to be at the end of the class. All right, if you want to ask straight away, please do so. I'm open. All right, can. So let me move on to the next slide. Okay, so basically here, let me just like here, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala mentions in Surah Al-Anfal. So basically the first 4 slides ataupun slide 2 until slide 5, these are verses from the Al-Quran where Allah Subhanahu wa Taala touches on ataupun mentions the word islah. Alright, islah comes from the word salaha, ataupun if you have a friend nama Saleh, right, orang soleh, kita selalu dengar orang soleh, am I right? Orang soleh, islah, masjid al-islah, sulh, right? So what is salaha? Alright, salaha, saleh is basically comes from the word piety lah, salaha, orang yang soleh, orang yang pious. Okay, but on top of that, if you change the wazn ataupun the wordings, okay, it changes to other different meaning lah. Contoh islah, alright, salih and islah, it's not the same meaning. Masjid islah is not it's not masjid yang soleh, alright, but masjid islah meaning to repair ataupun to reconcile a relationship, to reconcile a misunderstanding, and so on and so forth. Islah basically just to amend things, alright, islah, right. Saleh is someone who is pious, right? And another word for salih ataupun yasluh, alright, salaha is also it can bring the meaning of yasluh, meaning dia yasluh hada, macam dia suitable, yeah, so it is suitable, yasluh, okay, it is something that is suitable, alright. So yeah, so this is Arabic, alright, it gives a lot of meanings to one word. Yeah, okay, just some info lah there. Right, so here in Surah Al-Anfal, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala mentions in the first verse, yas'alunaka 'anil anfal, qulil anfalu lillahi war rasul, fattaqullah wa aslihu dhata bainikum wa ati'ullah wa rasulah in kuntum mu'minin. Sorry. So here Allah Subhanahu wa Taala started with yas'alunaka 'anil anfal. They ask you, i.e. the Sahaba, they ask, O Prophet Muhammad, about the bounties. So basically here, this is in the context of war lah. Okay, so bila you go to war, it's not you go to war, but back then when people go to war, there are bounties lah. Right, so basically you collect harta daripada war. Okay, so they are asking Prophet SAW, Ya Rasulullah, what about these bounties? How do we divide them? Right, but before I talked about that, I explained about that. Allow me just to share with you some some things ataupun this term that has been repeated in the Al-Quran. Okay, contoh here yas'alunaka. Okay, I believe all of us we kita baca Quran lah kan. Yas'alunaka, alright. So another bila usually in the Al-Quran, if not most often than not, bila Allah Subhanahu wa taala use the word yas'alunaka, they ask. Okay, then the following words after that, Allah Subhanahu wa taala will use kul. They ask, say, means they ask, I am responding. Okay, Allah Subhanahu wa taala, bukan Allah Subhanahu wa taala respond, meaning Al-Quran respond. Right, kul, oh Prophet Muhammad. Okay, ikut konteks. Contoh, if you guys read surah Al-Kahfi, alright, ada this verse, yas'alunaka an Dhil Qarnain, you ask about Dhil Qarnain. Okay, kul sa'atslu alaikum minhu dhikra. See, kul, they ask, kul, they ask, say. Alright, ada few juga. Another one nanti kita akan go through dekat bawah. Yas'alunaka anil yatama, you ask about anak-anak yatim. Okay, anak-anak yatim. So kul is, so Allah Subhanahu wa taala responded kul, say, you ask about the yatims, say. That's one, so on, four. Okay, nanti we go through, but this is just a knowledge. Okay, when you see the word yas'alunaka, Allah will respond with kul. Right, so they asked Prophet SAW about these bounties. Okay, Nabi SAW responded, say that the bounties is for Allah and for the Prophet SAW and the Messenger. So basically, okay, that's that. Okay, fattakullaha wa aslihu dhata bainakum. So fear Allah, have taqwa, and amend that which is between you, and obey Allah and His Messenger. So here, bila try to imagine if you want an amazing race, okay, you dapat treasure, contoh. Okay, of course, surely you ask, okay, how do we divide this treasure? Okay, so contoh, your leader say, we are not dividing it. This is all for the sake of contoh charity, ataupun this is all for the company, ataupun the organization, whatever. Alright. So surely there's going to be one or two person yang tak happy lah. Am I right? You went through that amazing race. You traveled through the whole of Singapore, for example. Okay, with the scorching heat ataupun the rainy weather. Alright. But at the end of the day, at last semua benda kita tak dapat. Okay, so surely there's going to be one or two, ataupun there's some people yang tak happy. Okay, they are they are basically arguing, okay, have a conflict, right, between one another. Maybe person A say, tak apa, okay, I'm okay, take it. Maybe person B macam, person A, what do you mean just take it? I sacrifice my time with my family, I sacrifice my life, and then just leave it like that. Okay, hence Allah Subhanahu wa taala reminds them, fattaqullah, have taqwa. Right, taqwa, to fear Allah Subhanahu wa taala. And another meaning of taqwa is to amar ma'ruf wa nahi munkar, basically to actually follow what Allah Subhanahu wa taala asks you to do, and abstain from everything that Allah Subhanahu wa taala asks you to do. Right, so basically this is taqwa, selalu disebut dekat khutbah Jumaat. Okay, the first line, marilah sama kita bertakwa kepada Allah dengan melaksanakan segala perintahnya dan menjauhi segala larangannya. Okay, so that is taqwa. Alright, so have taqwa. Okay, Allah say this, be sincere, be ikhlas in whatever you do. Okay, have taqwa, wa aslihu dhata bainikum, and reconcile, amend between yourselves. Wa ati'u Allah wa rasulah in kuntum mu'minin. So this is the sign of a believer. Okay, to have taqwa, wa aslihu dhata bainikum, and also to amend between yourselves if you are believers, if you are truly indeed believers. So similar to us. Okay, there's going to be some point of time, okay, we're going to have conflict issues with other people. Doesn't mean, okay, so this is in the context of monetary. Okay, but we are talking about anfal, bounties. Okay, basically monetary. So you're going to have conflicts with for example, your brother, okay, about duit, or even your boss. Okay, contoh, you work 7.5 hours. Your boss, he does not want to pay you for the half an hour, the round down instead of rounding up. All right, so you work 7 hours, I'm going to pay you 7 hours, but you rather, no, I need that 30 minutes, I still spend my time, I still work, I need you to pay that 30 minutes. right? So wa aslihu dzata bainakum, right? But itu context, of not being adil lah, okay? But point here is there's going to be conflict on monetary, okay? And it is something that is common, okay? More, if I can share also, when 2019, when we issued the fatwa on joint tenancy. So basically, I'm not sure if you guys can understand this technicalities. So basically, just to keep it very, very simple, when you buy a house, you can choose two contracts. It's either joint tenancy or tenancy in common. Joint tenancy means that if husband and wife owns a house, if the husband passes away, the house will be fully transferred 100% to the wife. So meaning it cannot be distributed through faraid. All right. So dia macam gitulah. Okay, so to just move this forward quickly. So bila that fatwa was announced, okay, and members of community, we got a lot of phone calls. Orang macam, so macam mana? They talk about money, ataupun they talk about faraid. Okay, and some of the calls that I receive, ada orang tak happy ataupun ada orang zalim. Kira they twist around this contract ataupun just gaduh lah about duit. Okay, usually orang bila hidup, okay, those who are still alive, we are okay, nampak okay. But when someone passes on, okay, then baru kita nampak. Bila dah duit, when money comes into the picture, we'll see a different side of the person. Okay, right? So just to share about that, right? Okay, let's move on. All right. Following verse, Surah An-Nisa. Right. So this is the context of someone who is fighting lah. Kalau if you want to go to the specifics, hold on. Let me just. Yeah. So basically, actually, this verse, it talks about zawj and zawja, basically between a husband and wife. Okay. وَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ شِقَاقَ بَيْنِهِمَا فَبَعَثُوا حَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهِ وَحَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهَا إِنْ يُرِيدَ إِصْلَاحًا. So if there's a conflict between a husband and a wife, and they try to reconcile, okay, and they cannot come to a conclusion, فَبَعَثُوا حَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهِ وَحَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهَا. So get a middle person, appoint someone from the men's side, and also someone from the women's side. Okay, in yurida islaha, in yurida islahi yuwaffiqillahu bainahuma, and to reconcile, right? In Allah kana aliman khabira, right? Okay, so basically here, of course, I think all of you guys here, 14 of you here, it's not married, ataupun kalau ada yang married. So, but I'm not going to talk about the context of marriage lah. Let's talk about contoh you have an issue with person A and person B. It doesn't have to be, a boy and a girl. Just between you, boy and boy, girl and girl, tak kisahlah. Right? So, as I mentioned, there's going to be a time where conflict is going to happen, okay? And contoh you try to resolve, you try to find a conclusion or find a solution between both of you, but you are unable to do so. Okay, ada je one pihak tak agree ataupun one pihak is not just tak nak lepaskan, tak nak give in, do not want to give in. Alright, so what can you do? You engage a third party. Okay, a third party who is neutral. Dia dengan kisah A, dia dengan kisah B, then dia akan give his own natural assessment. Right? For example, this can be a counselor. Okay, to put things in the context. Okay, contoh ada isu, cuba tak boleh. Jumpa counselor. Counselor yang role apa? Neutral. Dia dengar form A, dia dengar form B. Dan dia kasih dia punya assessment. Right? So at times going to be like that. Okay, and at times pun kita pun secara tidak langsung, okay, unintentionally, at times we also do as such. So you are so angry with this person, with person A, for example, you do not want to talk to him. What you do? You ask your person C, you talk to B, please. I don't want to talk to him. You talk to him. If I'm going to talk to him, later, World War III is going to happen. Alright, so, kadang kita buat gitu. Am I right? Kan, you marah sangat dengan contoh your adik, you get your sister ataupun your adik perempuan untuk berbualkan dengan your adik. Okay, because you are too angry. So, secara tidak langsung ataupun unintentionally, at times we do as such. We want to reconcile, but kadang at times we just cannot bring ourselves to, talk to that person because we are so angry. Okay, right? Yeah, and so on and so forth. So going back to this verse. So this is something natural. Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, he mentions this verse. So it's gonna happen. Okay, a husband and wife is gonna fight, and at times susah nak berbual, a husband and wife nak berbual susah. So we need to get a hakaman min ahlihi or hakaman min ahliha. Okay, right? Yeah. So moving on. This is also in the context of husband and wife lah. Wa inni imra'atun khafat min ba'liha nushuzan. Maybe I'll skip this verse lah. Let's go to this verse, Surah Al-Hujurat. Right? Okay. So this is the verse in Surah Al-Hujurat, okay, verse 9 and 10. Wa in ta'ifatan minal mu'minina qatatalu fa aslihu bainahuma. If there are two groups of believers who fight, okay, if you guys tengok the word iqtatalu comes from the word qatala. Qatala can bring the meaning of kill, all right, but here some gives the interpretation of fight. Two believers are fighting, for aslihu bainahuma, you need to reconcile between them. Okay, when two believers fight, you should try to reconcile. Why? Fa in baghat ihdahuma 'ala al-ukhra faqatilu allati tabghi hatta tafi'a ila amrillah. Okay, if one of them is clearly oppressing the other, right, fight the oppressor until they submit to God's command. Okay, so as I mentioned, so this is something similar. Okay, believers ataupun tadi we're talking about just two different people, but here people of faith, okay, orang yang sama agama, sama holding on to the same faith, both are Muslims, but there can also come to a point ataupun a time where you guys fight. Okay, you guys gonna fight. Okay, orang Muslim, orang mukmin. So here Allah Subhanahu wa Taala is using the word mukmin, a believer. We know a Muslim is someone who holds on to Islam, but mu'min means, that's that next level, okay? Sedikit atas Muslim. Dia orang yang beriman. Dia bukan orang Muslim saja, tapi dia orang yang beriman. Okay? So orang beriman pun boleh iqtatalu. Okay? They can also fight. They will also fight. So fa aslihu bainahuma. So you need to reconcile between them. So fa aslihu bainahuma. Okay, you orang luar. Okay, you are a third party. You need to try to reconcile between them. Right? Fa in fa'at fa aslihu bainahuma bil adl wa aqsitu innallaha yuhibbul muqsitin. Then make a just and even-handed, basically just lah. Reconciliation between the two of them. God loves those who are just. Okay, the believers are brothers. Okay, innamal mu'minuna ikhwan. Okay, so mu'min, believers will also fight one day. Okay, but how do you resolve them? Okay, how do you actually counter this? Ataupun how do you islah bainahuma? How do you islah between the two? Okay, later I think the end of the slides I touch some tips on how do we actually counter, ataupun how do we actually islah. We talk about fa aslihu, a man reconcile. Okay, we know that about reconcile. Okay, tadi we talk about a husband and wife, then these bounties and so on and so forth. So how do we reconcile? Okay, later we will go through, right? But before I move on, I think it is also important for me to say that at times when a believers fight, okay, kadang-kadang okay lah, based on this context is fighting, but when another scenario, contoh orang yang have different views, all right, so basically maybe I hold on to the view of A, and you, for example, hold on to the view of B, all right, so we have a conflict of ideas, we have a conflict of understanding. Okay, we have various understanding of Islamic texts lah, for example, but what's our role here as believers? Okay, when we come across conflicts between the two, it is important for us to have, start letter A, to have adab. Okay, we need to have adab, we need to have the etiquettes, when facing with conflicts, and most importantly, different or different views. It doesn't mean that you hold on to B, I hold on to A, we cannot be friends. Okay, to put it into simpler terms, those who are Sufi and those who are Salafi, you cannot be friends. No, why? We are okay. Kenapa nak kena segregate between that? Okay, I have friends yang study dekat Madinah, all around Madinah, the Azhar, so each individual pun, each of my friends pun, they have their own principles, they have their own understanding of Islam, okay, their own view of Islam, Aqidah, and so on. But I respect them. They are still my friends. Okay, I do not go around bashing them behind their backs and so on. So we do not do that. Okay, so when there's conflict ataupun conflict of understanding, we need to have adab. Kena ada adab. Right, adab is very, very important. Okay, not just adab in talabul ilm, adab in seeking knowledge, that is also important. All right, but adab in facing with conflicts of ideas or understandings. Okay, that is also important. Saya rasa sama. Okay, sorry. Ken, let's move on. That's fine. Any questions? Okay, let's move on. Okay, so here I also want to touch about lessons from Surah Al-Hujurat. Okay, but here I'm just sharing about some actions that may cause conflict. Okay, it doesn't mean that it will, but these are certain things that we need to abstain from to avoid conflicts. Okay, there are two verses. So here is verse number 11. Okay, so if you guys are aware just now, the first verse 9 and verse 10, okay, talks about reconcile. Okay, a mu'min, there's a mu'min iqtatalu. Okay, so this is the word mu'minina iqtatalu fa aslihu bainahuma. Okay, so the verse 10, so the verse number 9 talks about islah ataupun reconcile between two believers. Verse number 10 give the emphasis ataupun emphasizes on innamal mu'minuna ikhwah, verily believers are brothers. All of us, we are brothers. I'm your brother. Okay, I'm your sister. Yeah, I'm your brother. Okay, so innamal mu'minuna ikhwah, we are one. Okay, we are two brothers. We are we are together. Fa'aslihu baina akhwaykum. So as brothers, okay, tak kisahlah brothers or sisters, we need to reconcile. Okay, fa'aslihu baina akhwaykum. So make peace between your brothers and be mindful of God. Wattaqullah la'allakum turhamun. Okay, so that in that flow, talking about for us, innamal mu'minuna ikhwah. Okay, mu'mins are ikhwah, we are brothers. Then Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala in verse 11, okay, he says about ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, those who believe, la yaskharu qaumun min qaumin asa an yakuna khairan minhum wala nisa'un min nisa' asa an yakuna khairan minhunna. Believers, no one group of men should jeer one another, should not hold on. Yeah, okay. So sorry for that. Believers do not jeer one another. Okay, be it man or woman, jangan, do not jeer. Tak mau, sakitkan hati orang lain. Okay. Wala talmizu anfusakum wala tanabazu bil alqab, and do not speak ill of one another. Then do not speak ill of one another, and do not use offensive nicknames for one another. Okay, so these are also important. Okay. At times during when we are schooling ataupun dengan adik-beradik kita sendiri, at times we tend to we like to call each other names, right? For example, someone who is short, we call them XXXX. Someone who is a bit besar sedikit, XL, and so on, so besar sedikit, we call him XXXX. Right, so wala tanabazu bil alqab, do not call each other nicknames yang kita orang tak suka. Bi'salismul fusuqu ba'dal iman. Okay, how bad it is to be called a mischief maker after accepting faith. Okay, so you dah orang beriman, okay, and going back to verse number 10, you are believers, you are ikhwa, you are brothers, but at the same time, why would you want to jeer at your own brother? Why would you want to jeer at your own sister? Why are you calling, your friends nicknames, hurtful nicknames, painful nicknames? Okay, why? Okay, wa man lam yatub fa ulaika humul zalimun, and those who do not repent of these behaviors are clearly adh-dhalimun, so basically evildoers. So these are the things yang we need. Am I right? Whatever that I shared here, okay, this verse itself, these are all, cocok-cocok, that eventually will, cause conflict between one person A and person B, ataupun conflict between two persons, two individuals. Am I right? Kan? I'm not sure if any of you have ever been through ataupun experienced this before. People call you nicknames and you're not happy about it. Okay, contoh dia panggil you XXX, you tak suka, right? It hurts your feelings, right? And then eventually you tak suka orang tu, then you may or may not, okay, someone may or may not, call them back, panggil dia nicknames pula. Dia panggil you nicknames, you panggil dia nickname. So it's like, banter between two people non-stop, right? So remember that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala mentions in verse 10, innamal mu'minuna ikhwa fa aslihu baina akhawaykum. Okay, you are believer, you are brothers. Believers, you are brothers. You need to reconcile between each and one another. So, here are some things yang we need to avoid. Okay, I think all of us here we can agree. Kita tahu, kadang kita perasan, and at times we are unaware. It's unintentionally at times we call people names, right? We assume that they are okay with it, but maybe deep down they are not. Okay, so maybe this is a time for us to reflect. Okay, for us to muhasabah, right, on our actions and our words, okay, what we call this. Okay, Can moving on. So this is also another thing. Ya ayyuhalladzina amanu ijtanibu katsiran minadh-dhanni inna ba'dadh-dhanni ithim. So believers, avoid making too many assumptions. Okay, inna ba'dadh-dhanni ithim. Do not speculate. All right, so do not speculate, do not make assumptions of others. Okay, wala tajassasu wala yaghtab ba'dukum ba'dha. Do not spy on one another or speak ill of people behind their backs. Okay, ayyuhibbu ahadukum an ya'kula lahma akhihi maitan fakarihtum. Would any of you like to eat the flesh of your dead brother? No, you would hate it. Okay, surely you will hate it. Wattaqullah innallaha tawwabun rahim. So here pun sama. Alright, at times speculations ataupun kalau to put into simple terms, mengumpat, all these backbitings, it causes tension, it causes conflict between individuals, right? So we need to abstain from all this, all this backbiting, that all this mengumpat, gossip. We need to abstain. Wala tajassasu wala yaghtab ba'dukum ba'dha. Lagi satu, you should not spy on one another. Okay, that I think I'm not sure if it's relatable to us or not. But the second part, wala yaghtab ba'dukum ba'dha. Do not speak ill of people behind their backs. This is what I'm trying to say. But this backbiting. Okay, this I'm during my time as a student, there's a lot of basically orang suka lah gossip. Okay, usually people assume that gossips only have between girls, okay, between female, but little to my eyes, I think men also gossips their own part, their own end lah, between men sendiri, they also gossip. Okay, so need to be very very careful here, because as I mentioned earlier, okay, mu'minuna ikhwa, believers, you are brothers. And here we are, contoh when we sit in a circle with our friends, they are talking about someone behind their back. Kadang kita tak perasan, alright? We think that this is something normal, it's something okay, because you do not have any beef, or you tak ada apa-apa issue, but you being there in that circle, listening to all these backbitings and so on and so forth. Okay, so you need to be very very careful here lah, alright, because eventually kalau sekiranya the person you are, people are talking behind that person's back, and that person eventually know that these are the group of people who has been talking about him, and nak tak nak you pun are also included in that circle, and then you akan ada conflict with that person. Okay, hence the conflict will start lah, padahal you do not have anything, kan, right? So be very very careful here, especially in these modern times. I've been at your age. You guys are youths, ataupun some of you kalau sini ada teenagers. I've been there. I've seen my friends, drown, just ataupun drown satu, wasting their time on just talking about people. So let's not do that, because Allah Maha Adil, Allah Al-Adil. So yeah, just to be very very careful. So here, before we move on the reconcile part, I just nak touch here. You guys nampak dekat sini, wattaqullah, the ending. Okay, have taqwa, innallaha tawwabun rahim. Okay, very Allah is ever forgiving, tawwab, okay, and also rahim, most merciful. So the verse before, Allah kata apa? Wa man lam yatub fa ulaika humud dhalimun. Those who do not repent, okay, they are indeed evildoers. So both verses are the talk about taubah. Alright, so kalau Allah kata taubah, meaning usually when we talk about taubah means someone performs a very very, contoh, based on our selalu the word taubah that we use selalunya when people use aku nak taubat lah, means dia buat, he made a mistake, and most often than not he made a grave mistake, a very very big mistake. Okay, contoh orang yang keluar Islam, dia nak taubat, dia nak masuk balik Islam, dia nak kena taubat, right? Contoh dia curi, dia nak taubat, right, and so on and so forth. So all these little things yang kita cakap ni semua, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala tie it with at-taubah. Taubah. You need to return to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, seek forgiveness, alright, and make taubat to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Of course, if you want to talk about taubat, it's a separate discussion. Ada cara-caranya, bukan cara lah, basically there are steps to perform taubat. Contoh, for example, if I can recall all of my what I know now is to actually hate that action that you did. That's number one. Number two is you berazam. Okay, you can berniat saja, atau you azam, you put down, I will not do that act again, contoh, right, and so on and so forth. Okay, but taubat is a different set of topic lah. Ni maybe you can get Zuhail to explain on this. Right, yeah, can boleh. I know there are some questions. I attend to it once I'm done. Okay, I think kita dah dekat habis dah. I'll try to move as quickly as possible, reconcile, right? So this berapa tiga, okay, so there are 3 steps on what we can do to actually manage this conflict, right? First, number one is let us observe this verse, beautiful verse in Surah Ali Imran verse 159. Fabima rahmatin minallahi linta lahum, by an act of mercy from God, you, Prophet Muhammad, were gentle in your dealings with others. Okay, so Nabi SAW, I think all of us here we can agree that Nabi SAW, most of his time ataupun all the time, Nabi SAW adalah seorang, ataupun he is someone who is very gentle, he is someone who is very soft. That's our Prophet SAW, right? So that's Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, his act, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala mercy, Nabi based on from Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala mercy, Nabi SAW adalah seorang yang sangat lembut. Okay, linta lahum, okay, very gentle in your dealings. Linta pun, the word pun layin, comes from the word layin, so sangat lembut. Walau kunta faddan ghalidhal qalbi lan faddu min hawlik. Alright, if some of you can recite the Al-Quran, you guys recite this verse at your own homes. Walau kunta faddan ghalidhal qalbi lan faddu min hawlik. Bacaan semua sangat keras, it's all too tebal, okay, very thick. Faddan ghalidhal qalbi lang faddu. Okay, so the words ataupun the hurufs here are very tebal. Alright, dia bukan senang mudah nak baca macam lintalahum, rahmah minallahi lintalahum, very easy. When we talk about walau kunta faddan ghalidan qalbi, okay, why? You read the meaning. Alright? But if Prophet SAW had you been harsh, faddan, okay, kasar, cari baca pun macam a bit macam tebal, tak kasar but tebal, right? Or hard-hearted, okay? Lan faddu min hawli, they would have quickly have dispersed and left you. Okay, fa'fu anhum wastaghfir lahum washawirhum fil amr, so pardon them and ask forgiveness for them. Consult with them about matters. فَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُتَوَكِّلِينَ. So this is very, very important lesson here. At times in managing conflict, we need to, at times, of course, I understand it's a challenge, because sekarang kita tengah marah, bila tengah marah, darah up, okay, so kata-kata pun selalu up lah, you know, kata-kata selalu kasar, you know, our words are very hurtful, maybe even, and na'udzubillah, our actions are very hurtful, okay, maybe tangan, kaki semua gerak, which is, you know, that should not be the case at all right, but in a state of conflict, these are the things that you need to do. Lin talahum, you need to be gentle in your dealings. I know you are angry, I know you are having, you know, a hard time talking to that someone, I know you both of you have conflict, but both of you need to linta lahum, linta. You need to be gentle in your dealings, because if one of you, you know, chooses to be hard-hearted, to be harsh, what's going to happen? Then faddu min hawlik, the other party is going to run away, okay? Ataupun, you know, just stop and just give up, cut ties, and so on. So, and we do not want that. Am I right? Especially to the people that we love, that we care, we do not want that to happen. So selalu nak kena be gentle in our approach, right? So first step is gentle. Start dengan diri kita dulu, okay? Lintalah, kita sendiri nak kena mulakan. Before waiting for others, we ourselves, we need to be gentle. Then after that, fa'fu anhum. Lepas tu belum lagi, it's still you. You need to fa'fu anhum. You need to pardon them. You know, you tengah gaduh, both of you are having a conflict, person A and person B, both of you are having a conflict, you are angry with each other, but the Quranic teachings, it teaches us to lint, which is layin, be gentle. Yourself, you need to start first, alright? Fa'fu anhum, you need to pardon them. Itu pun daripada you sendiri. Kita belum talking about, you know, what's the other party is going to do to me, ataupun, you know, I expect you to actually forgive me first, ataupun you need to be the better person. But no, Quran teaches us to be the better person first. Quran teaches us to be layin first, and then pardon them. And not just pardon them, bukan maafkan saja, wastaghfir lahum, right, and ask forgiveness for them. Washawirhum fil amr. Okay, and then you consult them, and then you have a musyawarah, you talk to them, alright? You dah maafkan, you dah tenang, you talk very layin, okay, very gentle, okay, and then you talk to them, washawirhum fil amr, okay, and then maybe you try your best, meaning you tried your best, am I right? You are the one who become, you be the better person, you became the better person, you berbual baik-baik, you maafkan orang dulu, you istighfar, okay, you seek forgiveness for them, right? Then you berbual, but then maybe things just go out of hand, okay, still, you know, you cannot come to a solution, you cannot come to a conclusion. فَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ. So bila you dah try, you try your best, kan? Semua usaha kan kat atas. You start dengan diri you maafkan, you musyawarah, syawir, you dah cuba, baru Allah kata apa? فَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ. When you have decided on a course of action, put your trust in God. So lepas you dah do all that, fatawakkal 'ala Allah, innallaha yuhibbul mutawakkilin. Allah suka, Allah sayang, Allah loves those who put your trust in Him. Meaning, you know, let's picture this scenario. Both of you are fighting, okay? Then you be the bigger person, okay? That's on you. You dah berat, okay? Maybe, you know, you tak rasa you tak dapat any points from there. Okay, maybe that person yang dapat point. Aku yang maafkan kau tau. Aku yang, you know, I'm the one who's forgiving you first, and I'm being gentle to you first. So you are winning right now technically. We may feel that way. Okay, and then after talking, still cannot come to a conclusion. But kita tawakal, meaning that's our action. Itu usaha kita. We are ikhlas, we are sincere when we forgive, when we be gentle. So when we are ikhlas in that sense, what's going to happen? Inna Allaha yuhibbul mutawakkilin. Ini yang hujung dia. This is very, very important. We think that, you know, dia dapat 2-3 points because we chose to become a better person. But at the end of the day, Allah kata apa? Allah loves those who tawakkal. Kita usaha. This is our form of tawakal. Kita usaha, then eventually kita tawakal. Allah sayang kita. So how can it compare to that? You know, you just become the better person and so on and so on. But at the end of the day, Allah loves you, and that's what we want, am I right? As believers, as Muslims, we want Allah Subhanahu wa Taala to love us, right? So it's a win situation, right? So this is something that we can learn lah. Although this ayat is for our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, but we can take lessons from this, okay, for us to interact in our daily lives. Okay, that's number one. Number two, well, at the start, I'm sorry, it's 10 o'clock, but let's try to just end this slides, and maybe I just take a few questions. This is Surah Fussilat, verse 34. وَلَا تَسْتَوِي الْحَسَنَ وَلَا سَيِّئَةَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started this verse by stating up front, goodness and bad deeds, ataupun goodness and evil, they are not equal. All right? Idfa' billati hiya ahsan. Okay, repel. Okay, with what is better. Okay. Here Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, He did not specify what is better. Apa tu ahsan? Alright, meaning if you have a conflict between person A and person B, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala did not give a template answer that you need to, contoh you are fighting over money, contoh, then idfa' billati hiya ahsan means you repel, means you just surrender all, ataupun, you know, whatever the options are, right? But here Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, He did not put any specifics. Allah SWT kata idfa' billati hiya ahsan. Repel with whatever it is better. So you yourself, any of you, those who are in conflict, they need to make an assessment. How do you repel what is better? And not better just for the sake of you winning, you sedap, but what is better for both of you, both of your relationship? How do you come to a solution, come to an agreement between two parties, right? فَإِذَا الَّذِي بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَهُ عَدَاوَةٌ. Okay, and if there's and maybe and let me just remove this. Yeah, and kalau فَإِذَا الَّذِي بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَهُ, and between yourself, between two of you, okay, ada sikap adawah. Adawah means some rivalry, ataupun he is your enemy, he or she is your enemy, right? But if you choose to idfa' billati hiya ahsan, choose to repel with something that is better, ka'annahu fa'idha alladhi bainaka wa bainahu adawa ka'annahu waliyyun hamim. Okay, if you choose to idfa' billati hiya ahsan, you choose to repel with something better, eventually he or she, the person that you have having a conflict with, is going to be your waliyyun hamim, and a valued friend. Okay, here Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala He did not use the word he will be your friend. But Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala kata waliyyun hamim, your valued friend. Padahal before this you were enemies. But if you choose to idfa' billati hiya ahsan, you choose to repel something that is better for your relationship, better for the both of you. You're not seeking personal gain. You tak sikap, you are not selfish. He or she is going to be your best friend one day. Okay, I'm not sure if you guys experienced this before, but I seen it with my own eyes. My friends dulu tak boleh, dia ni tak ngam langsung. But tahu satu hari tu masa tiba-tiba jadi best friends, tiba-tiba rapat, right? Maybe one of them chooses this method of idfa' billati hiya ahsan. You never know, right? You never know, your enemy, like, no, he's gonna be your best friend, right? 5-10 years down the road. Okay, so this is another tip, okay, on resolving conflict, right? Maybe last slide here. This is a very beautiful hadith. I love this hadith. So Nabi SAW, this is a hadith, Muslim means hadith sahih. Prophet SAW once mentioned, La tadkhuluna al-jannah hatta tu'minu wa la tu'minu hatta tahabbu. Right? You shall not enter paradise, and so as long you do not have faith, okay? You do not enter paradise, so as long you do not have faith. And you do not have faith as long you tahabu, you love each other. Okay, Okay, so this is it. And you will not believe as long as you do not love one another. So loving one another, all right, you know, loving your friend, loving your brothers and sisters, your parents, whatever, it is a sign of faith. Why? Innamal mu'minuna ikhwah. Believers, you are brothers. Okay, Allah Subhanahu wa taala use the word believers, orang yang beriman adalah ikhwah. So here, bila Nabi SAW kata la tu'minu hatta tahabbu, you are not a firm believer until you love for each other. So it correlates. Dia sama. Alright? So faith is tied to loving one another. Alright? So how do you love one another? Okay? Awala adullukum ala shay'in idza fa'altumuhu tahabbtum. Okay, tahabbtum. Okay, if you do this act, alright? Okay, if you do this act, you will surely love each other. Apa dia? Afshu salam bainakum. Alright, to say the salam, alright? To basically to put it, you know, to give the meaning ataupun to literally translate this is to beri salam ke orang lain. Afshu salam, to give salam, say assalamualaikum to others. Although that's one, but I think this meaning actually it gives a little bit more. It's not just about salam means assalamualaikum, but salam means apa? Assalam means peace. Comes from Allah Subhanahu wa taala nama pun. Allahu Assalam. Allah is the most ataupun maha kesejahteraan lah. So he is peace. Right? So afshu salam bainakum, spread peace between among of you, and you will, you know, you will love each other. Right? So peace meaning, you know, reconciling conflicts, you know, peace with other people of faith, kan? Peace with, you know, your brothers and sisters. You can, you know, live in one house together happily in peace, in harmony. All right, so these are all peace. So peace, it encompasses a lot of things. Okay, I'm just mentioning a few just now. All right, so three simple things, right? Three beautiful Quranic and also prophetic traditions that we can learn from to resolve conflict, right? So yeah, okay. Boleh. Okay. Okay, can I'll take these questions before we end today. I hope it gives all of you a new perspective and maybe, you know, a new insights lah, to how on how to resolve conflict between you know, between whoever lah. Right, Zakir ada soalan, how about for situation where we try to handle conflict for those older than us, okay? Not who have the notion of we are. Oh yeah. Thanks Zakira for this question. I think this is a very true question lah. Basically it's a fact at times. Okay, kadang-kadang orang tua, those who are older than us, they tend to say that, you know, these, you know, you kecil lagi, jangan masuk aduk, you know, perbualan orang tua and so on and so forth. It's normal, right? But yeah, you need to you need to assess that situation by yourself lah. Meaning, contoh, if you can choose to be the mediator, right? Meaning you boleh jadi orang tengah, you can try. They can also listen to you. Then by all means, please do so. But at the same time, kalau sekiranya they have such of a mindset, then we need to also be respectful. All right, I'm not saying whatever they are saying is right, but we need to be respectful in, you know, sharing our views. Right, when they say as such, we need to find a way to, you know, to actually share our views, but at the same time we need to be respectful lah. We do not want to be just, you know, oh no, I dah belajar dengan Ustaz Hakim ni, dia kata kalau orang tengah aduk, I just need to masuk, you know, masuk terus perbaiki, stop. Right, that's not how it is. Okay, as I mentioned just now, adab is also important. Am I right? Okay, so need to be respectful in sharing our views, you know, in trying to find a solution for others also, right? It is not easy. I'll tell you that. I'm also learning along the way. Okay, it's not easy. Yeah, it is not easy lah. There's no template answer. I'm so sorry, Zakira. I cannot give you a template answer. You do this, okay? You can get the result. But I can give is all these little principles that we hold on to, all right? And in hope that, you know, it guides us to actually find a solution for this situation, Can? Okay, moving on. Hamiza, if we have eavesdrop other people from talking about us, how we alright. Yeah, so bila you dengar orang backbite about you, to give it a very simple answer, be happy because you dapat pahala lah. You'll get rewards for those people who talk bad about you, right? And how do I put this? I think if if any of you here you experience people backbiting about you, I know it's painful, right? I've been there. Okay, I pun pernah sana juga. Um, but what I can share with you is you continue to have faith, right? Some, of course, to say it's sabar macam just putting my mind cakap je lah sabar, but I know it's a very hard thing to do. But my point here is as long as whatever you are doing is right, right? You keep on doing it. Okay, I'm just giving an example. Contoh you selalu pergi masjid, then your friend macam backbite about you. Let's step soleh lah, apa step nak pergi masjid. Padahal, blah, 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 blah. They backbite about you, they gossip about you. But you yourself, you know that when you go to the mosque, it is out of pure sincerity and pure faith. And, you just want to achieve Allah's love. That's all you want. So if that's your motive, that's your goal, my sincerest advice is for you to continue to do that, right? Although it's painful at that moment, I'm sorry I cannot tell the future, but selalu benda macam ini, when people treat you unfairly, we always need to remember that Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala, He is Al-Adil, He is the most just, right? Allah Maha Adil. Kita susah sekarang, adil dia apa? Nanti Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala akan kasih kita mudah. Right, I have some friends kadang I nampak people kadang talk bad about them and so on and so forth, right? But when I graduated, when I'm working right now, when I look at them, those people yang they backbite about on, okay, these people yang kena backbite, they are the ones who are more successful than the people who spend their time backbiting about others. Okay, I've seen that with my own eyes. So I hope it gives you some comfort, all right? Knowing that I know it's painful, but inshallah Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala is opening that doors of opportunities, doors of success, because all of this ni semua kafarah lah kan, we are going through pain, emotionally, mentally, physically, a lot of pain. So as long as we keep on striving, inshallah Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala will open that door lah. And at the end of the day, we always need to remind ourselves when Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala loves a servant, He tests them. So if we see this, ataupun if this people backbiting about us is a form of test, be glad that we know that Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala is looking down on us, be full of love. He loves us so much that He tests us consistently. All right. So yeah. How do we repent from backbiting and how to prevent from it happening again? Yeah. So if we are those who part of those yang backbite others, I urge you, I strongly encourage you. If I can force you, I'll force you, but I can't force you. But so I highly encourage you to stop backbiting lah. It is not good not only for yourself, but you are also actually bringing others down. And why would you want to do that? Kenapa you nak jatuhkan orang lain? Dia buat jahat sangat ke dekat you sampai you need to backbite about, talk bad behind their backs. Okay, kadang-kadang when we reflect, when we ponder muhasabah, kadang-kadang apa isu dia pun dengan satu orang ni, dia tak buat apa-apa dekat kita, tapi kita suka nak berbual pasal dia, right? So reflect on that. Is it worth your time to actually talk about someone yang doesn't affect you in any way? All right, and if you waste your time on doing as such pun, it's gonna, you dapat dosa. Okay, and yeah, so why would you want to do that? Okay, so how to prevent it from happening? Simple steps. Number one is befriend those who are pious, befriend those who are good lah, right? So be in a circle of friends who motivates you to grow closer to Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. Okay, friends yang who studies together. Okay, memang genuinely nak belajar, seek knowledge and so on and so forth. Alright. Number two is you just busy yourself with other things lah. Do not busy yourself on other people's lives lah. Alright. Moving on, how do we know we have sincerely forgive a person who have inflicted us? I watched a movie ataupun a series a few days back. Kalau kita, if we've truly move on from the people who hurt us, we will not think about them. Right? So, but if kita dah betul-betul move on from someone who had hurt us, we won't think about them. We won't think about whatever they have done to us. Right? I'm not sure if that's the answer, but that's what I can just terus keluarkan from what I saw at the book, some series or whatever lah. Right? How to know if we have to keep forgiving and when to walk away? Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, He is the most forgiving. He continues to forgive. So why would we stop forgiving others when others other people hurt us lah? Right? Allah Subhanahu wa Taala selalu maafkan kita, so we should also try our best to always forgive others lah, right? Because if we simpan that anger, right, that hate inside our hearts, it's gonna take a toll on us, right? You can try, nanti hati you rasa berat. Okay, you feel uneasy lah, right? Just having that hate, anger inside your hearts. Okay, that hate or anger, it does not deserve your time. You need to let it go. Right? Of course, it's easier said than done, right? But once you let it go, then you can move on with your life. You're gonna look things in another perspective, positively. You are free. You tak rasa that burden carrying that anger, that hate for that someone who keeps on backbiting about you. Okay, I know it's not easy. Trust me, I know. But it's doable, inshallah. Right? But yeah. Last question, Hasbi. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How do we deal with those that take advantage of our kindness, those that constantly make use of you only? This is how do I respond to this? So if such of people, if there's even such people, which I think that there are, all right, these people, okay, whatever, if they are just using us, they should not be the reason for us to stop being kind to others. Okay, meaning being kindness should be like benda yang normal ataupun benda, that's our principle. We are kind to others, but not just because of someone taking advantage of our kindness, we decide to be zalim. We start to be very harsh and so on and so forth. Let us not do that, but instead let us we tackle it tactfully. All right. Contoh, if someone I say make use of your kindness, then you need to find a way to to stop that. Okay, for example, contoh, you are kind in your spending. Contoh, you suka belanja orang, right? Then orang tu macam okay lah, belanja. Then you say okay. Right? So how do you counter that? Takkan you just say no, you tiba-tiba cakap tak ada, ni semua kau kena bayar hutang ni semua, you terus tiba-tiba nak ungkit lah, apalah. But how about you twist it a bit, meaning you make it subtle that you are rejecting ataupun you are avoiding that person who are making use of you, right? So instead of saying no, how about say, oh, I'm sorry, for example, I don't have some cash. Find alternatives ataupun, if I can put it very simple, which I'm not sure if this is the correct word, but find alasan lah to say no, right? But alasan dia yang very subtle, very soft, very kind. Okay, that's my take on it lah, right? Because there are people who take advantage of us. Okay, then they use us, and then contoh they don't credit us accordingly, ataupun they guilt trip us, as what Hasbi mentioned. So we need to be tactful in dealing with such people, right? But I think the main point yang I nak you guys bring back is, let us not make the person who's using us causes us to be someone who is not kind, like someone who is very violent, harsh, just because kita tak nak orang use us. At times we can do that, all right? Maybe bila perlu ataupun betul-betul, you know, to step set of foot on the ground. But at times, you know, yeah, we need to assess lah. I cannot give a template answer that you need to do this, you know, ABC, then, you know, people won't do that to you anymore. But I'm just giving some principles that inshallah I pray lah, that, you know, it guides you, it guides all of us, right, in tackling all these issues. Boleh. That's all from me. I apologize, Hasbi, Harmiza, Zakira, and Fawaz, ataupun the rest of you here. I apologize if I cannot, if I'm unable to actually answer your questions clearly, ataupun, you know, to give you the solutions that you want. I apologize for that. But if you still want me to answer, we can talk about it. You can send your questions to Witan, Istighfar, ataupun you can just PM me personally, then we can talk about it lah, right? Because most of the questions that I see, it's dia macam case to case basis lah, meaning I cannot just easily say that you need to do ABC and then that's it. Okay, all this, it requires assessment. Okay, you need to make your own assessment, you need to make your own judgment, tengok macam mana. Alright, kadang-kadang the solution that I give, solution A, it applies to most of you, but maybe some of you have, your situation doesn't allow, you know, solution A, but, you know, it actually requires solution B. Right, so that's where I'm coming from. Okay. All right, thank you so much, everyone. I apologize for any shortcomings, for any you know, hurtful words, bahasa-bahasa and so on and so forth. Okay. Yeah. Right. Thank you so much, everyone. Let's end this class with tasbih kafarah and surah al-asr. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Right. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good rest. Please stay safe. Right. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum.